A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, it is a period of making and breaking promises to ourselves. We consider our past mistakes and prepare to make a lot of new ones, all while wallowing in self-loathing. It is the way of the British, and Americans pretending to be British. Strap in for a movie that is trying to be an adaptation of several books while standing as part of a defining wave of romantic comedies and a story of self-actualization for one miserable woman. Definitely not going to be a challenge. Hello there, and welcome back to 6 Degrees of Star Wars, the podcast where we explore all the ways George Lucas's flagship franchise surrounds us, binds us, and penetrates us in the landscape of cinema. I'm your host, Sam Marchioni. Joining me today, River Lane.
I am hunting Richard Curtis for sport.
Jill Friedman.
I have had 2 units of tea today. Yorkshire Gold, of course.
And Grady Smithy.
It is a truth universally acknowledged that there are few pleasures so pure as the joy we derive from watching someone finally realize that this is a remake of Pride and Prejudice. And speaking of long overdue realizations, am I the last one who figured out that this is a Hallmark Christmas movie, but where the guy's the protagonist?
I feel like that's somehow insulting Hallmark Christmas movies, but at the same time, you're not wrong.
Hear me out. If anybody's going for the pitchforks and torches, wait a sec. He's got a trip back to the town he grew up in, meets somebody who is immediately off-putting to him, and then ultimately winds up having to decide between them and his glamorous job in Manhattan and horrible fiancé. Just saying.
You know, you've got a point.
Yeah, so we pulled up a degree 3 for our holiday episode.
Greetings, I am IR60, Star Wars Retelling Connections. Point of intersection found. This is a degree 3. Shirley Henderson played Babu Frick in The Rise of Skywalker and Anzellan Crew in The Mandalorian.
Hey!
Hey!
Additional source material found. This is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. For additional degrees and uncredited amendments, check out 6degreesofstarwars.tumblr.com/sibling blogs.
Technically, Bridget Jones' Diary was labeled as New Year, but
It's a Yule movie. You know, that Real War of Christmas, the fact that we were supposed to have 12 days of it. It's a Yule movie.
Also, as in, you'll be wondering, did I think this was a great movie back then because it truly was, or because I just wasn't paying attention to some of the stuff that was going to age badly?
Oh man, this movie's bad, y'all. I started this movie at like 1 p.m, and I finished it at 3 because I kept pausing to like walk around my apartment or do other things, or like I managed to do an entire D&D character sheet to prevent myself from watching this movie.
90% of it has aged like milk. It's honestly, I would barely count it as a rom-com because it just
it's not very romantic, and it's not very funny.
It's what they gave us as rom-coms in the 90s.
Yeah.
I will say, for the sake of argument, we do get some decent-ish fashion choices. Certainly Colin Firth has to wear the heck out of some suits, which was nice.
And do basically nothing else. Like, God, Colin Firth is a nothing burger in this movie, and this man would go on to win an Oscar.
Yes.
Colin Firth was given nothing to do because of that whole adaptational hang-up thing, where you, the audience who knows that this is a Pride and Prejudice adaptation, know that he is Mr. Darcy, and know that we are inevitably going to end up with him. So why do we have to put in the effort to make him a real character? Except for the fact that there's half the audience that doesn't know that, so we're just sitting here going like, but why does she give a shit about him?
Well, he was technically given 2 things to do. Wear nice suits, be awkward. Mission accomplished.
A third, wear that ridiculous Christmas sweater.
And punch Hugh Grant in the nose.
He had a full day. Like, it's also complicated by the fact that in the book, Colin Firth is Colin Firth. Like, there's a whole storyline where Bridget Jones is trying to pin down to interview Colin Firth. I think it's the whole Salman Rushdie plot, actually, that gets adapted.
The Salman Rushdie thing, or the trial thing of
I
the
don't remember. It's been so long since I read the book.
Shit, the woman who's married to the guy who is a refugee that... God, I feel terrible that I don't remember the names, because honestly, I would rather be watching a movie about that.
Wouldn't we all?
Yes, well, Kafir Agani has spent his entire life defending the basic human rights of his own people, and today's verdict has been the result of 5 years of struggle by this woman, Eleanor Heaney, to save the man she loves from an extradition order that would have been tantamount to a death sentence.
Speaking of Salman Rushdie, though, I do love how she's got the line about, I am the intellectual equal of everyone in here. Immediate smash cut to Salman Rushdie.
I just really want to know, I don't have too many connections to England, but it feels like inviting your family to a Tarts and Vickers party is a bold choice.
Well, consider who was the one behind the idea.
I mean, I guess.
The gross call me uncle guy.
Oh, that's right.
I hated all of that almost as much as I hated the fucking fat phobia that permeates throughout this movie. Oh no, you poor thing, you're 132 pounds. How very dreadful.
How sad for you that you are what Hollywood thinks is fat.
Not to be a sapphic on Maine, but Renee Zellweger, the male gaze is bad for a lot of things, but they did kind of pop off with bunny suits.
As the target audience for that pit, I did approve.
Can I provide a bit of perspective on the bunny suit thing?
Sure.
So my mom apparently interviewed at the Playboy Club to work there.
Fucking wild.
In the 60s, when she was in her 20s, my mother was just tall, legs up to her neck, the usual. And the reason she ended up not taking the job was because her father was a pilot. And she was like, I might be in a situation where either my dad or his colleagues come to the club on a night where I'm working, and don't.
That is so many levels of awkward.
Yeah. But I think we also have to consider, obviously this is 40 years later, so it's not relevant at all. But in the time of the actual Playboy Club, there was actually an element of sexual liberation and empowerment and choosing to do this job, because it was actually a pretty prestigious job. It was not an easy job to get, in addition to the looks element of it. I believe there was a pretty hefty, you had to, be able to hold a conversation.
Oh yeah, if you watch The House Bunny, it makes it seem like a fucking fairy tale.
Right. And the House Bunny is well past that point. That's nah. But I think in the 60s it was kind of different, and really the only reason my mom decided not to take the job was the looming possibility of her father or someone who knew her father or knew her rolling into the club.
Fucking wild, man.
Valid.
Hang on, I have notes. I took very scant notes about this because that meant having coherent thoughts about this movie when all I wanted to do was yell.
Just even knowing that this is a Pride and Prejudice and he's the Wickham of this all, better chemistry with Daniel. I'm just gonna say it. Bridget and Daniel felt like a better fit, partially because of the whole Colin Firth / Darcy has nothing to fucking do, but also I'm sorry, Hugh Grant is charming. Even when he's a scoundrel, he's charming. I'd love to be watching him again in Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves because he's so fucking fun.
He was perfect in that.
Hugh Grant continues to be the only person on this here bitch of an earth who can read Richard Curtis's dialogue and make it sound like an actual human being is the one speaking it. Because, Christ above, no one else can do it. And also, the thing that sort of plays into the movie's trick of it all is every 5 or so minutes you are in on Daniel. You're almost buying everything. And then he says something fucked up and you're like, God fucking damn it, not again. And I get that to some extent that is the trick the movie is playing, to sort of lull us into a false insecurity, and then wham, bam, he's a dipshit. But when you give your Darcy nothing to fucking do, we don't even get, like, a hand grasp. We don't even get, like, enough longing gazes. We just get shit!
Yeah, I mean, not to skip ahead, but at the very end of the movie when he's reading her diary, which kind of a red flag, mate, but, like, seeing I hate him, I hate him, I hate him written on so many pages, like, yeah, 'cause you've been nothing but a dick to her other than that one I like you just the way you are thing, which fucking where?
Nice sentiment. Wish it meant something.
All hat, no cattle.
Yeah, exactly. It is no surprise that the burn book has Mark Darcy as the nastiest skank bitch I've ever met. Do not trust him. He's a fucking slut. Thank you.
And the other thing is, usually, Richard Curtis, you're great with writing friends, and, like, the friends of our protagonists. This friend group sucks.
I'm trying to remember how much the difference between the book and the movie, because in the book, like, the friend group is very, very, like, present.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you anything about this friend group other than one of them's a one-hit wonder and he's gay, one of them is Shirley Henderson, who is sad, and one of them says fuck a lot.
And the gay one isn't just gay. It's James Callis's Camp Gaius Baltar.
Which I did not realize until just this second. What?
Yeah, the first time the camera's on him was like, is that Baltar? Holy shit, that is!
No. Oh no.
Guys, is there a reference I'm not getting here?
Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
He is the initial antagonist, I guess? He's the one that sells us out to the Cylons, basically. That is spoiling nothing. We learned that in the first 3 minutes of the show.
Also, the bitchy fiancé lady, Natasha?
He's
That's
also
Miss
the voice
Honey.
of Alucard. He's the voice of Alucard. That's the way more important information. He's the voice of Alucard in Castlevania.
So we're not gonna focus at all on the fact that Miss Honey is apparently now the bitchy fiancé? Or girlfriend? What the fuck is up with Natasha?
Natasha's gag from, like, minute one is that she is the coworker. And if we were focusing on Darcy, she would be the disposable girlfriend. She wants to be the fiancé girlfriend, but he does not give a single shit about her. Other than, like, yeah, she is my coworker, whatever.
My workplace proximity associate.
We were colleagues.
The girlfriend by default.
This movie has two things going for it. Number one, Colin Firth beating the shit out of Hugh Grant. Manners maketh man and what have you. God, I wish I was watching Kingsman right now. And that public dumping of Hugh Grant's character originally in The Office was solid. A little too on the nose, but I was like, alright, fair enough. That was fun.
I have a thing I'd like to add to the going for it pile since it is such a small pile. Bridget Jones's invisible drum kit solo of sadness at the very beginning. That part is just fun as hell.
Speaking of musicals, a brief soapbox about the British having 3 actors, 2 sets, 1 prop, and apparently 6 crew members. So you're watching the opening credits, as one is wont to do when you're also being given filmic information as the opening credits scroll by. And one of the pieces of information we get is music supervisor Nicholas Angel. And some of you in the audience have seen a movie or two in your life, and you're like, hey, isn't it the guy from Hot Fuzz?
Yeah.
And the answer is,
oh my god.
yes. Because
the guy.
Nicholas Angel, music supervisor, is also the musical supervisor on all of Edgar Wright's movies, as well as a bunch of other, like, you look at his IMDb page and it's like, was this movie made with a predominantly British production? Yes. He's probably the music supervisor within the past, like, 10 years.
Incredible.
What did they give him for a budget? Because this thing is stuffed.
I think the budget simply said yes.
I think whatever budget they didn't put into travel sequences, because I'm pretty positive the shot of Bridget walking back and forth across the bridge is the same shot.
Like, if you tell people in 1999 or 2000 in England, hey, we're doing a movie with, and then lists all of these people, they're just going to write you a blank check because they know that movie is going to get a lot of butts and seats based on the cast alone.
Apparently Lena Headey was also almost Bridget, like she was considered.
She was incredible. We were robbed.
we were.
Apparently they also considered Rachel Weisz, but she was too beautiful.
Correct!
I'm not saying that Renee Zellweger is unattractive by any stretch of the imagination, but, like, Hollywood's scale of what is or isn't attractive just fully does not make sense for me in so many ways.
Renee, okay, so the best way I can configure it is Rachel Weisz is, if you saw her at a bar, you would probably, like, if she was just, like, a patron at a bar and you were out with friends, you would not approach her because, dear Christ, that is way too pretty for a human being to be in this, like, city bar. If I saw Renee Zellweger at a bar and I was, like, maybe a couple of drinks in, I'd be confident enough to go up to her. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there's regular people pretty, and then there's, oh gosh. The first time I went to Las Vegas, we went to lunch at some place, and the guy who served us, he was giving, like, Wes Bentley as Sterling Archer, and the part in his hair looked like it had been done with a ruler. And it was in that moment I remembered that people who go to Las Vegas to do, like, service jobs, like bartenders, waitresses, what have you, while they're auditioning for things, while they're trying to hit it big on something. And that's the difference, I think.
Yeah. Quick question to all involved. What the fuck was with the parent subplot?
Oh my god, everything about it. The mom just being fucking racist.
Just
the
horrible.
Second Bridget steps in and never getting called out on it, really. And Jim Broadbent's too good for her mom. He should be kicking her to the fucking curb when she comes back groveling.
Well, that's a whole 90s rom-com thing. Somebody fucks up and the other one was like, yeah, but okay.
I literally wrote in my notes at the end of that grovel, I'm like, that's too fucking easy. Because, like, if a woman is walking out on a marriage that late in the game, things have been going wrong for so very long. Also, the other thing I will give it is Richard Curtis has a vague, actual good insight into women for, like, 5 seconds when the mother says, you and Bridget have that 2-person club of, like, oh, something's going on with her. And I went in my notes, something bullying of the mother via the father and the daughter duo, which is just, like, a thing that has been known to sociologically happen. But, like, I'm not gonna give Richard Curtis credit for that. I don't want to.
And honestly, the mother kind of deserves to be bullied.
Yeah. Also, this movie has such a snowball problem. Because by the time we got to the scene at the, like, not quite an engagement announcement, but is very clearly framed like an engagement announcement until it is discovered that it's actually a work announcement.
No, it is still treated as an engagement announcement, because he was like, and hopefully soon also to be our daughter-in-law. Like, God, don't put that on your kid.
It's treated like an engagement announcement for an engagement that hasn't happened. But, like, I paused the movie there. And there were 16 minutes left of this movie. And I was like, 3 to 5 minutes for credits? That's 10 minutes of movie and we got so much shit we gotta solve. So that ending was deeply unsatisfying in every font of the imagination. The only thing I could say is, yeah, I'm with everybody. Nice boys don't kiss like that as they fucking do. Sure is one hell of a delivery. Colin Firth, go you.
If they'd just given him more like that.
Truly.
There are so many things I would rather be watching that could spring off from this movie. Like, fuck it, I want to know what the hell is up with Laura from The American Office.
Yeah.
Is she in her own Hallmark movie?
She's living her best life.
I think she might have realized she was in one and escaped while she could.
Yeah. She's like, I'm going to go to London on a work trip and sleep with this hot guy on a work trip and, like, have my booty call paid for on the boss's dime. Go off, queen, honestly.
Slay.
Icon and star. Calling the press, Pemberley Press, I see what you did there.
To your earlier point, actually, both Sam and River, about sort of Bridget and Daniel having a better sort of rapport. Of course they have a better rapport. They both work in publishing. They both have that sort of domain knowledge and interest and, you know, work in common and what have you. Darcy's a barrister. Like, that's not a world that Bridget has had any contact with, you know? Like, it makes sense that she'd have a better rapport with Daniel.
Yeah, it's just, you know, the scene when they're rowing on the boat and the two lawyers are sitting in a boat together and reviewing a case, and it's like they're fine, but then Bridget and Daniel have their own boats, and they're having fun. I'm sorry, it's just so easy for me to root for couples that I actually see having fun.
Yeah.
I also think the other thing with that scene is we don't get a Darcy coming out of the lake.
You did get Hugh Grant coming out of the lake.
We got Hugh Grant coming out of the lake. So he got the classic, female gaze, which, has its own problems. I had highly suspected in film school that Laura Mulvey might be a TERF, but she might actually also just be a TERF, but say la vie.
Pick a side movie. I'm guessing that they don't because they've made another 3 of these?
Of course, yeah, no. Why would they pick a side?
I read the second one when it came out, and it's basically that movie about white people going to Thailand and getting sort of hoodwinked into muling drugs and then getting put in jail. That's what happens to her.
Fuck?
Yeah. Bridget gets tricked into muling drugs, gets put in jail, and each entry in the diary is her having lost more and more weight. And there's a whole bit about how she finally made it to 120 pounds and she looks like shit. Because she has been starving in a jail. Yeah, no, it's wild.
And I do think this would work in book form because you're allowed to get this was written by a woman and you're allowed to get more into Bridget's head. But man, what is this movie? Christ alive!
Honestly, I hated how much of the narration there was. I'm not a fan of Renee Zellweger to begin with. I think it's mostly that I was introduced to her via Chicago, and it's hard to watch Chicago and not find Renee Zellweger incredibly wanting when you put her up against Catherine Zeta-Jones.
For me, that made the part of Roxy work, but
yeah, I feel like that's a why and not a...
Yeah, no, but still, sometimes seeing an actor in a certain role can poison you towards them.
For sure, for sure.
I need to like Jacob Elordi in something, so I am not permanently associating him with the Elvis portrayal and the Nate Gray thing, even though he seems decent enough for a Hollywood man, TM. Bridget should have gotten to say fuck.
Very that.
Bridget should have gotten to say fuck when Daniel was giving that whole thing in the office, and she was realizing that. She should have been allowed to interrupt his apology with a "fuck you, asshole," and then left.
Well, if she did, then it might have undercut her whole thing about wiping Saddam Hussein's ass.
I think this movie would have been maybe not incredibly improved, but slightly improved. We're not a romance. I think if this was one of those Eat, Pray, Love movies where it's just a woman trying to figure out what she wants from herself.
No, see, that would have been the movie if she'd gone with her friends to Paris.
What would be Eat, Pray, Louvre?
Out.
God.
Get out. Get
God.
out.
So Grady's not going to be in the rest of this episode.
So now,
I think if that had been the angle we got, I think I'd be less furious with this movie. I'd still be furious with it because I don't love those brands of movies, but I think I'd be less furious with it. This movie did get one other thing accurate. Old boys do be ruining everything. Fuck the social circles clubs. All my homies hate the social circles clubs.
Yeah, and you know that Mark and Daniel are both Eton. Oh no, I guess they're Cambridge boys.
Cambridge.
But... Yeah.
No, wait, hang on.
Cambridge isn't that special.
Hang on, this is 01, right? Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
Where did David Cameron go to Cambridge or Oxford? I forget. Could they have been at the pig fucker party?
Now that is the most important question that has ever been asked about Bridget Jones's Diary.
Hugh Grant's character
almost 30
absolutely
years
was.
since
I
it
will
was written.
accept no other premise.
Headcanon accepted.
Hang on, we have to put a legend in there. We have to put the alleged pig fucker party.
Was it a legend? Because I thought we found pretty conclusively that Cameron did that.
No, when I think we have to go back. I think we have to go back to alleged because the biographer who wrote it originally has since been called into question.
Oh no! But I thought that was the whole scandal with the Black Mirror thing. But oh well.
Yeah.
In my heart.
It's alleged with an asterisk. It is alleged to cover our ass.
Sure. It's
so,
allegedly alleged. Allegedly.
Yeah. You were welcome
to answer your question, Oxford. Oxford.
Drat. Well, they're very close. They could have been at the same parties. I don't know. I'm holding on to this one. I'm holding on to this one with both hands.
England's fucking weird, and I'm glad that we broke up with them.
Not that we, did anything differently. We just named our aristocracy something else.
Right.
We changed the spelling of color.
And gray.
Because we were too cheap to drop. We were too cheap, and we decided it was easier to drop the U.
Wow.
That is the real reason that U got dropped from all those words.
So you're saying that not enough people were financing the U grant?
Grady, you're still here.
That's 2!
You're pushing it, Grady. You're pushing it.
This movie, at the end of the day, I think confounds me. Why did we let this become the franchise monstrosity that it is? How did we let this happen? How did we get a theoretical, only in my corkboarded string theory, tween-age spin-off or tween-age successor?
Given that it took 11 years between the first one and the second one, or the second one and the third one, let me double check that.
Edge of Reason is 2004, and Bridget Jones's Baby was 2016.
Okay, so 12 years.
That's a while.
That's a while, and I could be wrong. It was less time to get Furiosa after Fury Road, I think.
Very that.
I'd be very confident in saying that Bridget Jones's Baby probably happened because Renee Zellweger felt she needed it. I don't know, it feels like a vanity project on her end, but...
I could totally see her running into Hugh at a coffee party and saying, hey, remember how much fun we had on that?
Hugh Grant wasn't even in Bridget Jones's Baby. He apparently got killed off. But they're bringing him back for the fourth one.
Okay.
To be clear, I am fully throwing stones from a glass house because you tell me Princess Diaries 3 is happening and I am already seated in the theater even though it hasn't been made yet.
We are
Honestly.
seated in the theater. We are throwing stones at Chris Pine's house because we can't call him on his flip phone.
It definitely says something that we're trying so hard not to talk about the movie itself.
Well, here's another question. What's everyone's favorite Pride and Prejudice adaptation that they like?
Lizzie Bennet Diaries.
There's a name I haven't heard for a while.
I did really like Fire Island.
That's my answer. I'm not even a Jane Austen fanatic, but the way the rain scene the rain scene happened, and I was cheering for it like they were playing my favorite song at a concert. I was just yes, they're doing it. It's the rain scene.
Mine was a stage adaptation that I was on the set crew for.
Oh, nice.
It wasn't even a retelling, it was just that. And the guy that was playing Darcy had the haughty attitude perfectly. The woman that was playing Lizzie at the time, I had such a helpless crush on, not gonna lie. And the two of them apparently couldn't stand each other off stage, but got along perfectly in character.
That feels right. That feels correct.
The point of chemistry is that there's a reaction happening.
Sometimes it's sodium and water, yeah.
As opposed to whatever the fuck is going on with... God, somebody's gonna have to make me watch these sequels so I can understand if Colin Firth and Renee Zellweger actually ever do, work.
I could theoretically make you do it for my podcast, but I also don't want to put you or I through that. The first one is already in the shuffle, which means, inevitably, I will have to watch this at least one more time.
So this is a terrible thing I'm seeing on the IMDb trivia section.
Oh no.
In 2007, The Guardian named Bridget Jones's Diary as one of the 10 novels that best define the 20th century, joining the ranks of Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, Anne Frank's The Diary of a Young Girl, and J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye, among others.
One of these things is not like the others. One of these things
that's
is
the
not
thing.
like the
That's
others.
the thing. I see where they're coming from with it.
Yeah.
I just think it says terrible things about who we are as a culture.
But also, out of all of those, Anne Frank is the only woman on that list?
True. If you believe that F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote most of The Great Gatsby and Zelda didn't, but play stands as called.
Yeah, but seriously, like, no Ursula K. Le Guin on that list?
So this isn't the full list. This is just...
Okay.
It's one of the 10 novels. Alright, so now I'm gonna look this up because I have to know what the other...
I mean, I didn't even know that this was a book.
How old were you in 1999, Sam, though?
4.
There you go. I was in college when it came out. Well, the movie came out. I was in high school when the book came out.
I only knew it was a book because I read From Hollywood with Love, and they talk about the creation of this movie and specifically talk about how it started life as a newspaper column.
Did you know it was a book, Grady?
Not until after I'd seen the movie.
Okay, I just figured maybe since you're our token old, it might have been on your radar.
We have the token old and the token baby.
Wait, Grady, how old are you?
Yes.
Give it in Star Wars terms.
I am old enough that I actually saw Star Wars before it was renamed A New Hope.
Okay, alright. Usually I'm the token old, which is why I was a bit thrown. My bad.
Gotcha.
No, Grady is the token old and I'm the token baby.
Fair.
I have not managed to power word age any of you, except yes, I can. This movie was released in May.
The movie was released in April.
Okay, I was still under a year old. I would have turned 1 in June.
So you could have given this movie an accurate review by taking a shit in the diaper.
Hey, ba-da-ba-ba-da-bum.
But
Like, I'm sorry to those of you out there who like this movie or who came of age with it or something. I'm sorry if, like, Bridget Jones was so you, because you also felt awkward and slummed around your apartment in jammies eating garbage. Like, yes, can relate to a lot of that, but also, like, this is just such a mean movie. It's so mean.
the 2000s in general were a mean time to be alive.
And I don't like it.
I mean, that can be a reason to not watch it or not revisit it, but I don't think that invalidates it as a work, if that makes sense.
I understand the people who haven't, like, there are movies that I love that are not great by any capacity. Like, I adore Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I watched that movie with my friends the other day, and a lot of it does not hold up, just in general, but I still have a rollicking good time every time I watch it. That aforementioned tween, not convinced it isn't a direct ripoff of this book or this original series, Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging. That movie is also not great upon rewatch. Do I still have an affectionate soft spot for it? Fully.
I remember so little of that movie other than the bit with the chicken breasts being shoved down somebody's bra.
Yeah, I have too many thoughts about that movie, which I will probably subject all of you to on my own podcast. But, like, again, there are things that are good, there are things that are bad, there are things that you like, and there are things that are formative to your experience with media. And I could very easily see this movie being in one of the latter two categories.
I don't know what else there is really to say. Like, the relationship that I like more is categorically bad between the sexual harassment and the lying and the general terribleness of Daniel as a person. But the relationship that I'm supposed to root for is also bad because it's boring and they don't really actually know each other. And I'm sorry, it could be the godly fusion of every people's sexiest man alive ever. No person is worth running outside in a sweater, tiger print underwear, and basically nothing else.
I saw a couple of reviews that were like, the idea is that if Mark is to be believed, which, again, your mileage may vary, your waitstaff will be here all week, that if Mark truly likes Bridget for her flaws and all, the thing that she has been trying to scrub away the entire movie, there is something maybe there about how submitting to the mortifying ordeal of being known is worth a bit of a headache to try and get to, so to speak. And I could see how someone could make that reading. Do I believe it entirely? Not completely, but I understand where they would theoretically be coming from. Because at the end of the day, what is Pride and Prejudice if not a story about submitting to the mortifying ordeal of being known?
A good story?
Yes, but thematically speaking.
I mean, I will say that I liked this book so much, and the movie as well, that in my pre-live journal blog, which is on a website called Diaryland, I reskinned the display to look like a notebook and I called it Leopard Jones's Diary, because that's the kind of dork I was.
Oh, that's adorable, though.
Sometimes you just gotta lean into the stuff that you enjoy, even if it's trash.
Yes.
I mean, the concept's not terrible. Like, the fact that Lizzie Bennet Diaries and Fire Island's, like, it's not terrible. It's just not this.
I think the other thing you need is there needs to be a sibling. Fucking Bridget is a Lizzie with no sibling on either side of her, right?
Yeah, and there's no Bingley, really. There's nobody for Mark to really be friends with.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sort of mashed Bingley and Wickham together into one character with Daniel.
Which makes no damn sense on multiple reasons, but also it is reminding me that Lost in Austin is a thing. Have you guys seen Lost in Austin?
I have not.
No.
Oh my
No.
god.
No. Is that the one where the woman goes to, like, the LARP?
No, that's Austin Land. Lost in Austin is a much more straightforward isekai where a woman from London goes through a door and she basically takes Lizzie Bennet's place in Pride and Prejudice while Lizzie also takes her place in the modern world.
Okay, that sounds incredible. Holy...
That sounds amazing.
Hugh Bonneville, Alex Kingston.
Yeah.
Shut up and take my money.
I think it might be on Hulu. It's a wild ride, especially given some big changes that happen.
It is currently on Tubi.
God bless
excellent.
Tubi. I will watch some terrible commercials that are horrendously placed in the film for this.
It's a TV miniseries. It is one season, however.
Yeah, but like saying that Wickham and Bingley are combined in Daniel, it reminds me of a certain plot point that I absolutely don't want to spoil, but oh my god, the most amazing choices happen.
Everyone may be making some choices.
Yeah, there were choices made here, but I kind of feel like they were the choices that are made blindfolded, thrown at a dartboard.
In another room.
While drunk.
The choices made when it's a movie made by committee.
Yeah, because we have thrown a lot of shade at Richard Curtis being a screenwriter, but they also got the guy who wrote the 1995 Pride and Prejudice to punch it up for Colin Firth and to get him on board. And there was also the original novelist, so that's like 3 different...
It was, however, directed by a woman, and according to IMDb trivia, it is one of the few rom-com trilogies that was entirely directed by different women.
Also, the director is the person that Shazza is based on.
Yeah, they're breaking that streak by the looks of it, because number 4 is going to be directed by Michael Morris.
Should I be afraid? How afraid should I be?
Well, he's the guy who got Andrea Riseborough that Best Actress Oscar nomination for To Leslie, because he's married to What's-Her-Face from The West Wing, and they're really good at campaigning, and remember that was a whole thing that people got mad about?
Sure. I will take your word for it.
I remember the anger.
People got mad about it because Viola Davis got shut out of lead actress that year because of the To Leslie nomination.
Oof.
I don't want to know. I have decided that I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
The point is, the film series has broken its streak of having female directors.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Because women deserve to make bad movies and good movies.
I support women's rights and also women's wrongs.
I think that we need more rom-coms written by women, please. I need rom-coms that get fucky with it. TM.
I mean, there's a non-zero number of Hallmark movies that are written by women, but they're also...
Insert that one Tumblr post that's like, male-female romance gets so bogged down by the fact that it's written by the most heterosexual women imaginable, and the true genius of male-female romance is written by a bisexual going insane.
I mean, it's more of this is being written by committee. I'm still shocked that there were the number of fucks in this movie that there were, and also uses of the word cunt.
That might just be a British, yeah.
In England, it's just punctuation.
Yeah.
The Brits handshake the Aussies. Cunt is a friend of ours.
Yeah, it just...
Okay, Richard Curtis wrote Yesterday, and now I can't hate him anymore.
I can.
Oh, I can. Jill, I'm very sorry. We'll have you back for the Yesterday episode, but...
Yeah. Okay.
That movie is just a warm hug to me. I'm sorry.
I found it. The problem with commercial female-male romance it is written by the most heterosexual woman alive, and reading it, you feel yourself slowly suffocating from the capital G gender of it all, like a fish in an entropying lake. And what we actually need as a culture is female male romance written by insane bisexuals violently allergic to heteronormativity.
Hear, hear.
They couldn't possibly do worse.
No, I think they could, because remember, they made another 3 of these. And one of them has this Thai sex trafficking thing that, God...
No, not sex trafficking. Drug trafficking.
Okay, slightly better, but still, God.
Yeah, I'm really trying to polish that turd.
Well, it's getting painful enough that I think it's time to ask the question, is the Force with Bridget Jones's diary?
No.
No.
No. Oh, sorry. No.
Oh, baby, we're really in the prequels era now. It's unanimous. God. Again, I'm sorry if you like this movie, but oh god, what a miserable experience this was for me.
One more for flavor. Hey gang, are the straights, like, okay?
No.
No.
Not in this one, that's for damn sure.
Nar.
And I don't think the one gay in this movie is okay either.
No!
Alright, who has Pluggables?
As I have been quietly alluding to all of podcast, I am the host of The Straights Aren't Alright, a pod where I get a bunch of queers together, make them watch straight rom-coms, and try to answer the question, are the straights, like, okay? You can find us at BlueSky and Tumblr at aren'talrightpodcom. You can find me on BlueSky at Dreams Rebel and Letterboxed as punk_skeleton, as well as my website, which I need to get Sam the new link for, blog.filmlion.online, where I am finally doing the great MCU rewatch, for the love of God.
Oh my god.
As I try to deeply untangle my thoughts and feelings about the MCU as a whole.
I have a YouTube channel. It is Mighty Labradorite, and it's on YouTube. If you Google Jill Friedman or Mighty Labradorite, you'll find it. And I'm also on BlueSky as Mix Labradorite. MXLABRADORITE.
I am Snakebit Cat and or Grumpy Old Man-Child on the socials, and in keeping with my usual pattern, I have a recommendation. If you want to read a book that is the diary of someone who is a complete disaster, that is not this one. The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, aged 13 3/4, is frickin' delightful.
And in the spirit of Star Wars, to be there for the people who need us, this episode's mutual fund spotlight goes to Brianna Boston's legal defense and bond payment in the face of felony charges leveled against her as a disproportionate show of force by the United States government. The GoFundMe link can be found in the description for this podcast, as well as on my various socials under my new handle, Demisem. Our theme music is provided by Refractory Period, the 2 girls, 1 beat synth pop sensation. You can follow them on Instagram at Refractory Period, the band. To further support this podcast, please subscribe to us on your platform of choice, leave reviews, and share with your friends to boost our visibility, and consider joining our Patreon. And now, it's time to turn to the Chance Cube to decide where our journey takes us next.
Is that a 2 or a 1? Is that another 6?
It's a 6. Oh boy.
It's a 6, which means we're starting off the new year with I Saw the TV Glow.
What a swing! What a fucking swing!
I mean, you were complaining about the aggressive straightness of this whole movie. You said, this is too straight. I need more gay. I need more queer. You got what you asked for. I'm not gonna lie.
We'll see you all in 2025 to cover I Saw the TV Glow. Until then, stay safe, stay strong, stay beautiful, and may the Force be with you.